So I am going to be reacting to Interstellar. It was suggested to me, just a second. Okay, it was suggested to me by White Glint after I watched 2001 Space Odyssey. Just a little background on this movie for me. I kind of know the gist of it. I know that it has to do with, like, it has Matthew McConaughey, and I know that. And it has to do with, I think he goes into space to try to save, humanity. I've seen the scene with him crying while watching the video. And I think Hans Zimmer is the composer for this movie. I can't say for 100% sure, but either way, I'm excited to hear the soundtrack. I know it's probably going to be much in the line of 2001: A Space Odyssey, more like grand and epic.
Sometimes over our nose and mouth, so we wouldn't read the symmetric.
Is this actual people who experienced like the Dust Bowl? I know there was a time when everything was so there's just this giant dust storm. Is that real life people talking about that?
Shut up!
Grab a spare time.
Is that the little girl from Breaking Dawn? I think this movie came out in 2013, so it really just. I'm kind of wondering when Breaking Dawn came out. Twilight, Breaking Dawn, because it seems like this seems older than that movie. Getting Twister heels right now. Vibes.
20th century, then we need to teach our kids about this planet.
Interesting. It seems like they're trying to dumb down people so that they don't kind of continue to learn and explore, which could possibly lead to, something disastrous happening. While just roosting. Kind of reminds me of trucks. So these people who are kind of narrating it, are they telling what happened? This is what happened in the past, and they're relating it to them.
Gang, let's mask up.
It doesn't really feel that scary considering what's going on now. The whole having to wear a mask and all that.
It's not Morse, Murph, it's binary.
Binary? I'm wondering about binary, like the code for light coding. I'm trying to learn the code, so it's an interesting, but still don't understand much about how it works.
It excites me.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if he was going to leave because he's not satisfied with just being on Earth. He has to go out and explore and, I guess, do something amazing. But you can't really blame him for trying to take this chance to save humanity.
Absolute honesty isn't always the most diplomatic, nor the safe.
So is this that machine, is that supposed to be an actual human talking through them, or is this actually a machine?
Wise men at their end, no doubt.
So I'm wondering if there's going to be like an evil, computer, or if there's going to be like one of their compatriots that go crazy, or is this really just going to be more of a trying to struggle against space, if you will?
Laura started a biology program.
Kind of curious. This is from, I believe, 2013. Is this the more scientific? This is what they believe would actually happen if they were to go into hibernation. Should read up on it. I know there's probably some book somewhere that explains like the science behind this movie, which would be fascinating to read. Such a gorgeous shot, I'll admit. The lens flare and just the rings of Saturn. I believe it's Saturn. It's just gorgeous. It's kind of amazing how space, all they are just these rocks, and yet they're gorgeous. Sheer size of it.
So they say you want to go from here to there. But it's too far, right? So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through a higher dimension. Okay, so...
It really is an explanation from Event Horizon. I'm not even sure. Does Event Horizon, if that explanation, is that what something that was actually explained by scientists, or did they get that from Event Horizon? Event Horizon, great movie, terrifying. God, I'm always disappointed when I watch one of these movies and I don't actually see them in theaters, because it would be so fucking amazing, it'd just be so like jaw-dropping just to see these kind of visuals in theaters. God, it's beautiful.
Passing through the bulk. Space beyond.
From what I understand, to go into the wormhole, it will pull you apart. So that's what I've heard. But I haven't been keeping up at like current science. I'm wondering if they made a discovery about wormholes. This just kind of makes me nostalgic to go watch Stargate SG-1, to be honest.
Every hour we spend on that planet will be 7 years back on Earth. That's relativity, folks.
I've always find this idea of like the sort of time fascinating, but I still don't understand it. And I kind of want to try to learn about it, but then I'm also a horrible procrastinator and I can get frustrated easily, so I tend not to learn about it. But I still want to learn about it. So if any of you have any like recommendations for like movies or books that can really break down scientific like theories and explanations to more like I guess make it understandable for like the layperson, be greatly appreciated. I do love like Richard Dawkins, because he is great at breaking down scientific theories to make it easier to understand.
How's the record stay together after all these years, huh?
Because of the time slippage. On this planet's time, she just landed hours ago.
It's not been years. It's been not very, very, very long.
The data
Yep.
received.
It's funny because that seems like it kind of boggles the mind. How can time be decades on one planet and then just like minutes on another? It's kind of mind-boggling, but fascinating. She probably even has less time because her father will probably be dead by the time she goes back. As opposed to his kids probably have more time.
We've got years of messages stored.
I do kind of like how they had the consequences of just how important it is to really do this as fast as they can. Because if not, then they can lose their loved ones. Because of time. Back throughout this time, they still were making the videos, not knowing if he was still alive.
What with Jesse and all?
It's gonna be sad if they just give up. It's gonna be so sad that you pretty much lose your chance of seeing your children.
Never made one of these when you were still responding because I was so mad at you for leaving. And then when you went quiet, it seemed like I should live with that decision, and I have. Today's my birthday.
Remember this scene, but I always thought it was his wife, but it's actually his daughter.
Because you told me you once told me that when you came back we might be the same age. And today I'm the age you were when you left. So it would be a real good time for you to come back.
Mark Wahlberg. No, not Mark Wahlberg. Is that Mark Wahlberg? This moment I can't remember or not. Due to the fact that the instant he sees him, he starts sobbing. You know, he never see anybody else. It's not Mark Wahlberg. What's his name? I can't remember at the moment. Matt Damon. That's his name. I got it. Believe he plays in The Martian, doesn't he? Kind of old hat for him, huh?
Bran, did you know? He told you, right? You knew. This was all a sham. He left us here. To suffocate. To starve. Did my father know too? Dad? I just want to know if you left me here to die.
Killing main engine!
This kind of makes me want to go watch Arrival again. That soundtrack was impeccable. And this kind of reminded me of that soundtrack. So if you want me to react to Arrival, just give this a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll get to it. Once again, beautiful fucking scene. I still marvel at how gorgeous space is. It's so dangerous and terrifying, but just beautiful. They're gonna communicate through the bookcase. So what if it's him communicating to his daughter through like the bookcase or like through an alternate dimension? She was the phantom, the ghost all along. So I'm assuming he's still in the wormhole. So he's in a wormhole, which allows him to affect the past and by extension the future.
Make him stay, Merv.
So he's the one who told him to stay because he wanted to stay. If he could go back in time, he would stay. I'm assuming he'd rather die on Earth with his children. I'm assuming this is an artifact now. It's not actually like his home, it's an artifact. People can take tours and all that.
You told him I like farming. It's me, Merv. How would you know?
I know. People didn't believe me. They thought that I was doing it on myself. But I knew who it was. Nobody believed me. But I knew he would come back.
How?
Because my dad promised me.
I'm here now, Merv. I'm here.
No parent should have to watch their own child die.
Well, first thing I say, if user White Clint, your purpose was to make me cry, and you succeeded. And don't cry easily in movies, so this should really be a testament to this movie. I must say, I think it's one of those movies you have to watch through like 50 times before you can fully grasp everything in it. I guess unless you want to go and actually like read what the filmmakers intended when they made this movie. But just from like right now, my thoughts on it, I think it's really just kind of like a look at not only science and how much we can do, the possibilities of what we can do in the future, about all these like scientific theories, wormholes, possibility of traveling back into the past, but it also really looks at the human, looks at humanity and just how complex humanity is. I think the thing is they try to convey the message that it's not just like our brains, our rationality that is what's going to save us. It's also our love and emotions. It's what saves us. Because ultimately, in the end, the thing that saves humanity is Coop's love for his children, and the need to go back to them and save them. That's ultimately what saves them. But also, it kind of conveys that that's not the only route. Because Anne Hathaway's character, she continues on. She goes into space and colonizes another planet. So it's not just, it's not just like going to other planets, so it's going to save us. It's also just staying here and saving our planet that's going to save us. So it's interesting. I'm sure I'll have to, like I said, watch it 50 times before I can fully understand it and grasp all the different meanings, which isn't not necessarily a bad thing. Those are the kind of movies I adore. They put so much thought into this movie that you really have to go through to really discover everything that's been put in there. So yeah. I guess I could just go and look at some trivia to see if it kind of answers some of my questions at least. I said 2013, apparently it was made in 2014, so 1 year off. Early in pre-production, Dr. Kemp Thorne laid out 2 guidelines to strictly follow. Nothing would violate established physical laws, and that all of the wild speculations would spring from science, and not from the creative mind of the screenwriter. Writer, producer, and director Christopher Nolan accept those terms, as long as they did not get in the way of making of the movie. This did not prevent clashes, though. At one point, Thorne spent 2 weeks talking Nolan out of an idea about traveling faster than light. I do adore that idea. I love science. I love learning about science. I also love when movies adhere to scientific laws. Then you can really you're able to convey to the audience these, science, while also making it visually appealing. That's kind of what I love about, and also makes me nervous about some movies, because some movies, they kind of stretch the limits of science possibility, which makes me question, well, was this actually reality or realistic? Whereas I love movies that really stick to scientific fact, but might go beyond and go more towards, theorizing without it becoming just fiction. To create the wormhole, Dr. Kemp Thorne collaborated with visual effects supervisor Paul J. Franklin and his team at Double Negative. Thorne provided pages of deeply sourced theoretical equations to the team, which then created new CGI software programs based on these equations to create an accurate computer simulation of these phenomena. Some individual frames took up to 100 hours to render, and ultimately the whole CGI program reached to 800 terabytes of data. The resulting visual effects provided Thorne with a new insight into the effects of gravitational lensing and accurate disks surrounding black holes, and led him to writing 2 scientific papers, one from an astrophysics community and one from the computer graphic community. That is incredible, and I must say, well worth the time, since the visuals are just incredible. And I do like how him coming up with these equations and then creating this computer program, no doubt also added to our knowledge of black holes. It's fascinating. I guess, if anybody just remind me to look up Kemp Thorne and look up his papers and no doubt books, I'd love that, because I love to go look at his up about his, science. Look at the science behind everything, because he's obviously a doctor and knows what he's talking about. The method of space travel in this movie was based on physicist Dr. Kemp Thorne's works, which is also the basis for the method of space travel in Carl Sagan's novel Contact, and the resulting movie on the adaptation Contact. Matthew McConaughey starred in both movies. Need to go check out Dr. Kemp Thorne's works. Also have to go read complete Contact, because I was actually reading it before I ended up stopping. I definitely need to read that again, or complete that, and also go see the movie. So put that on my list. According to Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity, it would take an infinite amount of time to cross the threshold of a black hole's event horizon as seen by a distant observer. The person crossing the threshold, however, would notice no change in the flow of time. Writer, producer, and director Christopher Nolan cast Matthew McConaughey after seeing his performance in Mud. It was an ideal moment for Nolan when they landed Texas native McConaughey for the lead role. I'm thrilled for him right now. I didn't know how much potential he had until I saw Mud, not just as a leading man, but in sheer acting talent. He remarked that McConaughey needed an everyday man who could experience these extraordinary events. After watching the documentary The Dust Bowl, Christopher Nolan contacted its director Ken Burns and producer Dayton Duncan, requested permission to use some of their features interviews in this movie. I was wondering if that was actual footage. I knew it was probably from the Dust Bowl, because it felt really real when they were talking about all the dust and everything. I was wondering if it was a reference back to the Dust Bowl and when it happened. I just know of it. I don't know much about it, so definitely something else I should check out. Starting in 2014, Paramount Pictures began to cease releasing its features on a traditional film stock in favor of digital projection formats. However, as Christopher Nolan is a strong proponent for the continued use of film, print, or digital, he insisted the film be additionally released in 570mm IMAX, standard 70mm, 35mm film format as a full 2 days before its wider digital release. See, obviously I know about the whole controversy with Christopher Nolan's when Warner Brothers went to release their movies to HBO Max. I agree with Christopher Nolan's that we should also continue to release it in physical format, but I also believe, especially during the pandemic, that we should continue to release it on HBO Max so that people can go and watch it without having to worry about going into the theater and getting sick. I mean, we can have both worlds. We can have it on the digital format, and then also once a certain period of time has passed, like with film theaters, theaters release on physical format so people can have it in physical format if they want. Screenwriter Jonathan Nolan worked on the script for 4 years. To learn the scientific aspect, he studied relativity at the California Institute of Technology. Jonathan was pessimistic about the space shuttle program ending and how NASA lacked financing for a human mission to Mars, drawing inspiration from science fiction films with apocalyptic themes such as WALL-E and Avatar. Yeah, this is one of the screenwriters I'll probably end up checking out because it seems to be he does a lot of research when going to write his movies, which I love, so probably one I'll end up checking out. For a cornfield scene, Christopher Nolan sought to grow 500 acres of corn, which he learned was feasible when he produced Man of Steel. The corn was then sold and actually made a profit. I think I read that somewhere about Man of Steel, and I always still think it's funny. And pretty smart, to be honest. resurrect scene, which looks like a giant library and allows Cooper to access his daughter's bookshelf in the past, bears some resemblance to the concept of L-space as described in Terry Pratchett's Discworld books. L-space, short for library space, is the principle that the mass of information contained in a large collection of books warps space and time, and in coincidence, a significantly large library allows a visitor to access any library anywhere in time or space. You can read that book because I love libraries. But it's just, I do love how aspects of other science fiction books and movies influence this movie. So that was all the trivia on IMDb for Interstellar. I know it would probably be a lot because there's so much, obviously so much in this movie, but it's a long movie, but you kind of need that kind of length for how much you're going to put into it. Like I said, like with 2001 A Space Odyssey, I'm probably going to have to rewatch it a few times before I really get the full impact of it, which, like I said before, isn't a bad thing. Those are the kind of movies I love. But as of right now, it made me fucking sob, so I count that as a good movie. But yeah, I mean, this movie's obviously, this is going to be a long video anyway, so I'll probably just cut it off right now. If you're watching this movie and you're one of the ones who suggested Saving Private Ryan and The Big Red Pill, I have those on my list, so don't worry, I'm going to get to them eventually. But in the meantime, if you have any more sci-fi movies, I love sci-fi. I love how much, I especially love sci-fi movies that really bring into like scientific, like science into their movies and try to be as realistic as possible when portraying their movies. I love those. Those are my favorite movies. So if you have any, just recommend them. I'll probably do Event Horizon because it's one of my favorites. It's a mixture of science fiction and horror, which is a dream come true. So I'll probably end up doing that eventually. But that being said, if you have any suggestion whatsoever on any movies, I'm trying to kind of expand my horizon. I've had most exposure to like horror and sci-fi. So if you have any other genres, I don't care. Like war movies, romance, dramas, just suggest them, and you never know, I might end up enjoying them. So yeah, with that being said, if you like this video, give it a like. Subscribe to get notifications about any movies that I'll be doing that I post in the future. And you guys have a nice night. I'll talk to you later. Stay safe out there, okay? Bye.